Welcome to The Business Fighter with Henry Penix. Henry has been the CEO, founder, and consultant to hundreds of companies worldwide. He retired a multimillionaire, financially independent at the age of 35. Henry grew up a preacher's son and was thrown in jail 3 times for various altercations. He knows what it means to come from nothing and have to fight his way to the top. Henry is the business fighter who will teach you strategic skills for winning in business and in life. Don't just spectate, participate. It's time to get in the ring.
Hey guys, Henry Penix, the business fighter, bringing you another podcast. Today's podcast is so important. If you love your children or know somebody that loves their children, have them tune in right now. If they can't tune in now, make sure you share it with them because this is super important. This is probably one of the most important podcasts I've had for this time, for these days. You ask me what it is. It has to do with cybersecurity and identity theft, especially for children. Everybody can use it, but this lady that you're going to meet here in 20 seconds, she has dedicated her life to this. She has a passion for it. It's not about the money to her. It's more about the passion and the protection of children and families. So we're very, very honored today to get to talk to Connie O'Brien, a co-founder of idmentor.org. Connie, thank you so much for taking your time and being on with the Business Fighter.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to talk about this important topic.
Yeah, me too. Well, today, I mean, we can jump right in. Today, more than ever, with everybody being at home, even Zoom has incorporated the medium that we're using right now has incorporated new guidelines and new protocol because people were hacking Zoom calls and any chance that hackers can get to get a lot of people online, they're going to move in for the kill, so to speak. And sometimes those gateways are right through our children. Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about? I love to ask every guest, and I'm gonna go to the end a little bit. I'm gonna start from the beginning, then I'm gonna hit you in the middle.
Perfect. Let's keep it fun.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. But I like to ask all of my guests to drop a few golden nuggets so that my viewers can put something into practice today. So before I ask you what you got into this, let's jump right to the golden nugget. Are you a mom?
I am a mom. I'm a mom of 3 and 2 grandchildren.
Oh, okay. Oh my gosh. You don't look, well, anyway, congratulations.
Thank you.
So in protecting your children, your grandchildren, watching out for your family, drop just a couple of golden nuggets for my listeners right now that they can practically use today to help secure their families.
Yeah, so there's 2 that for me are really important and really guide how we live our lives every day in our home. The first one is around passwords. We hear this mantra all the time, don't use the same password on multiple sites, change your passwords on a regular basis. Right. We really need to do that, particularly right now. And people are always commenting, I can't remember what my password is, what numbers, what letters I used. And so I always tell them, use a phrase. Use a phrase like, I am a fierce leader, or
That's awesome.
Right. And so you can, if you use phrases like that, especially phrases that we're familiar with, it's much easier to remember. I mean, they can be as simple as, my son's birthday is in April. And then when I change it in a month, my daughter's birthday is in March.
Great idea. Great. Yeah. I've never thought about that, just being the whole phrase.
Yeah, and it really helps us remember them, but they're very, very difficult to hack if your password is a phrase like that.
Nice.
And then the second nugget I always say is talk to your children. We're going to talk a little bit about what's happening to children right now online and the increased risk that we're seeing across the internet. But it's really just important to talk to our children. On a given day, we'll ask our kids, how was school? How was baseball? How was soccer? How was your day? Whatever it may be. But how often do we say to our kids, hey, who were you talking with online? What were you guys talking about? It's the same conversation. Their lives are very different than what our lives were when we were younger. So we have to add new conversation, new pieces of information, and just talk.
Because they could be talking to a predator and you don't even know it, and they don't even know it. I mean, it could be somebody disguised. I've through the very, very popular interactive game now, Fortnite. Yep. Like there's literally tens of millions of kids on that all the time. And all you have to do is pick up a headset and start talking to a kid to be a predator. And sometimes the kids don't know. And it's have you heard of that game? And do you
Yeah.
kind of,
Yeah.
for me, it's kind of a red flag.
It's a huge red flag. And by the way, that game has been hacked numerous times.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's one of the most hacked games out there. Wow. But it's interesting because 1 in 5 children are solicited online. That's a huge
1 in 5.
1 in 5. And it's typically in a scenario where they are comfortable, whether it's a game, chat room, via Facebook, via Messenger, WhatsApp, whatever they use, what they're comfortable with based on their age. And 1 in 5 is solicited online. And I always tell people, like, think about how many adolescents are in the United States. There's about 8 million adolescents across the United States, or 8 billion, excuse me. How many predators there are that 1 in 5 of them get approached? That's a lot of predators. Oh my God. So it's a very scary thing. And just talking to your kids and keeping an open dialogue. And it's not about being a helicopter parent or invading their privacy. We talk to them about their friends all the time. What's different than talking about their friends and who they're talking to on the line? It's the same.
Yeah, this is a whole new generation. When I used to play in the schoolyard or have friends over, my parents could see who I was talking to. But now you communicate more with people online, text, chat, WhatsApp, like you said, all those mediums, and you don't see them. You want to assume that it's okay, but you don't know. So to bring it up casually, not in a forceful, like, who are you talking to? But hey man, what's going on? Who do you have online? And what's their names? Who'd you talk to today? What's up with school? Just in general conversation, I would think.
Yeah, absolutely. And age appropriate rules are very important. What's appropriate for, having a rule for a 16-year-old is very different than a 9-year-old or an 8-year-old. More than half the victims of child identity theft are under the age of 8. So it's interesting. I try not to scare people with facts. I like to inspire people to be educated and then learn from that and, create action on that. But, 8-year-olds are being approached online every single day. And we really, really need to be, as parents, I liken to your line behind you about being fierce. As parents, we need to be fierce. We need to be fierce to protect our children. It's a different world we live in.
We don't get a second chance at all. So you are co-founder of ID Mentor. You guys have over 23 million subscribers. First, I just want to thank you for dedicating your life to that, because that's huge. Think of all those kids that are being protected every day and saved from some idiot trying to be a predator online, man or woman. I kind of think men when I say that, but it's men or women, and our kids need protected. So let's back up to the very first. Give me just a couple minutes on what got you involved in this. Like, what was the epiphany? How did you get together? How long has the business been in business? Tell me how it got started.
Yeah, so it's actually a group of individuals that we worked in the identity theft business for a number of years. And there's a whole another side of identity theft specifically around breach. And that is the business that we were in, is breach response for large corporations. And so many times, these large customers would come to us and say, children were in this breach, their data was impacted. What do we do for them? And the answer was nothing. We didn't have anything. So a group of us decided that we wanted that to be our passion, and kind of started a different company that's just wholly focused on children and families. I get up every day, honestly, thinking about, how can I save a child today? I mean, I think about it from the moment I get up to the moment I go to bed. And, I get great joy from talking to people, who say thank you. And, your team was so helpful, and they made a difference in my life. And that's really, really important to me. And it's important to the other founders within ID Mentor.
Well, people always, and I always teach, you got to have passion for your product. You got to have passion for your profession, and passion for people. And if you don't have any of those 3 Ps, you might want to look at something else. But when you do have those, which you obviously do, it bleeds through. Like you said, every morning when you wake up, you think, how can I protect the child today? And that's kind of a clue, because people ask me all the time, Henry, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a wantrepreneur. How do I know what I'm doing is right? And I always say, do you wake up thinking about it? Mm-hmm. Do you go to sleep thinking about it? Or do you wake up dreading, I've got to do this today? If you wake up dreading you've got to do something, don't do it. Like, stop doing it. Find something that you can be. I'm not talking about hard work, because sometimes I wake up and I love what I do, but sometimes I'll procrastinate the things I've got to do for that day, but I still love it. That's something different. But if you have a passion for product, people, the processes, all of that, it's going to make a difference. And Connie, for you, I can feel that come through your speech and everything. So that's awesome. Thank you so much again for doing what you're doing. So you guys started out that you were in cybersecurity before. There was not really a niche there for kids. What do you do about the kids? You said, hey, I'm going to do that. Has other companies done that? And do you have other competitors out there right now? Because I haven't heard of a lot of companies doing this, but I'm sure there's probably 2 or 3 others.
Yeah, there are a couple others. There's one other company in particular that we are actually starting to work with right now and looking at doing a joint venture together because they have a very similar mission, but different products. So we're looking at adding some additional products to protect children into our kind of toolbox right now. So, they found us and said, we love your passion, we love your mission, can we partner together? So they're really the only one out there similar to us, focused on children. But yes, there are a number of identity theft companies out there.
Well, one of my schools, or one of my businesses rather, are preschools and early learning centers. And at one point we had about 300 employees and caring for a lot of children. So I know exactly what you're talking about. I caring for my own children. Like if you can cross me, you can talk bad about me, you can spit in my face, whatever. But you mess with any of my kids and this lion back here, like I trade places with him and you become, like you said initially, become fierce in the protection of your children. So when I was talking to you earlier, I was asking about your programs. People can go to idmentor.org, idmentor.org to look at your programs and things. But when I was talking to you about it, from my limited knowledge of the industry, it seemed like other people out there offering services similar were sometimes 2 and 3 times what you guys are charging in price. So why is your price so low? Why is it half of what I can find out there now?
Yeah, so a couple of reasons. So we stay really grassroots. We like to still think of ourselves as a bootstrap startup, even though we have a large customer base, and we really just rely very heavily on meeting with like-minded people like yourself who believe in the same things we believe in, and that's how we spread the word. Many of our competitors do spend a lot of money on advertising, and so we tend to stay away from that and tend to just want to be laser focused on our mission, which is protecting children. And we also do a lot of education videos on how children can be protected online and parental controls. And it's not just about, selling a product for us. It's about how do we educate parents so that they can protect their children.
So smart. And if people go to idmentor.org, will they find some of these videos, or do you have videos on YouTube? Are you on Instagram? How can someone get in and really start to dig into your company and learn more about you?
Yeah, you'll see my face in lots of videos.
Okay.
So hopefully people don't get tired of me. But yeah, we do have a YouTube channel. We do have an ID Mentor YouTube channel. You can also go to our website, or we also have Twitter, Instagram, all of those. Or, if they want, they can just reach out to me. I meet with people and talk with parents all day long, every day. And I'm willing to do that, if it protects one child. Wow. That's what it's about for me. Yeah.
You, again, I want to just put an exclamation point on your passion, because you can really tell you feel and you believe in what you're doing. And that means so much to me. I just, it makes my heart happy. So for all of those who didn't think the business fighter could have a happy heart, he can. And I do have a happy heart right now talking to Connie. Is there anything else that you could think about? Any one last piece of advice that we could give parents in dealing with the security of their children before we wrap this up? Because you're like talking to gold right now. And if anybody's got a kid, you got to listen to this. You got to share this, get this word out, especially about this company. Any last minute thoughts, Connie, about what people could do in addition to what you've already told us?
Yeah, so one thing I always like to tell parents is, we go out and we buy our kids bike helmets, and we buy them shin guards for soccer, and we take care of them in so many ways. Let we leave their identity just wide open. We even buy alarm systems for our homes, right, to keep people outside of our houses.
Right.
But to be frank, the criminals are inside your house. They're in your laptops and your iPads and your phones. And we need to have that same level of security inside of our home as well. And, it's kind of one of those things where we all say, I'll get to that. But I'll leave you with the stat. I hate to throw stats at people, but I'm going to give you one. So there was a study done by children who've been victims of identity theft. And 80% of them said that they were angry at their parents and wish their parents had done more to protect them.
Really?
And yes. And so we as parents, that's our job. And we have to protect our children. And the world we live in today it's an internet world. We all just need to accept that. But there are ways to protect them.
Wow. Well, again, I so appreciate you being on the Business Fighter podcast. I hope, guys, listen, like I said at the beginning of the show, if you have kids or know people that have kids or have grandkids or anything that starts with kids, please share this. Please send this out to 20, 30 of your friends and let them hear about this. Go online and look at what Connie and her other co-founders have created to protect your children at such a low dollar amount. I won't quote any dollar amounts because I want them to see it online, but you guys will be shocked at all they offer for such a low price. I make nothing out of this. I'm just trying to spread the good news. I'm not tied to Connie in any way, but I am tied to children because I'm a father of 3, and anything that I can do to protect my kids. Having the schools as one of my business. Protection, security is number one, because Connie, we don't get a second chance. Yes. Like we have to take it on right now. So guys, please go to idmentor.org. Connie said you can text her or chat with her online. I don't know what sort of phone numbers they have on there, but if you have any even institutions you want to bring this to, schools, whatever, I'm sure they would be happy to talk to you. So Connie, thank you so much for being on the podcast. And I wish you the very best. You're doing such a great job.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay. See you later.
All right. Bye-bye.